Conservative writer and speaker Dinesh D'Souza recently spoke his mind about the politicization of the Florida school shooting and ended up in serious hot water as a result. While the author of Obama's America and the Big Lie was criticized for his social media hot take by both liberals and conservatives, he is standing by the underlying point of his controversial posts and recently spoke to Conservative Tribune about the issue. When I saw an AP story about the students over at the Florida legislature reacting to the vote on the gun ban, I responded with a tweet, D'Souza explained to Tribune during an exclusive interview. Note that my response was not to the students reacting to the Florida shooting, it was to the students reacting to a legislative vote on the gun issue, he pointed out. The tweet in question was a link to a news story announcing that Florida lawmakers had rejected a bill to ban assault rifles, while emotional students who had witnessed the shooting in Parkland looked on. Worst news since their parents told them to get summer jobs, D'Souza posted. In another tweet the same day, the author posted adults 1, kids 0 in response to a similar news article about the anti-gun legislation failing at the Capitol. After being roundly criticized by liberals such as Kurt Eichenwald and conservatives including Ben Shapiro, Dinesh D'Souza apologized for his tweets and acknowledged that they seemed insensitive. In social media, as in the heat of debate, we all sometimes say things that are wrong or insensitive or go too far. I was wrong in this case, and I've said I'm sorry, D'Souza said to Conservative Tribune. None of this will deter me in continuing to speak out or in pressing my arguments for the issues I care about, he also stated. I was appalled at how the media is using these poor young survivors as pawns, the author continued. I saw one video on social media in which the producer is literally coaching the kid about what to say and how to say it. The underlying issue behind his controversial tweets, namely, that calm and mature debate needs to take precedence over raw emotion when it comes to the direction of the country, is what D'Souza said is still important, even while tensions in America run high. We must not forget the distinction between responding empathetically to a tragedy and calmly considering the best policy response to it, he explained to Tribune. Since FDR, the Democrats have become experts at the politics of grief, which is to say manipulating fear and suffering for political gain, he pointed out. Remember Rahm Emanuel, never let a tragedy go to waste. D'Souza's off-the-cuff tweets might have been over the line, but that doesn't eliminate the point he was trying to make. Manipulating fear for political gain seems to be exactly what the mainstream media and liberal politicians are trying to do right now. Many Americans who have seen this media song and dance before are just as leery of it as D'Souza, because it is part of a well-known pattern. After every tragedy, hand-wringers rush in while declaring that we must do something, do anything, yet never seem to step back and consider if the something being done is the right course of action. Suspiciously, the proposed solutions always seem to match liberal talking points and further their objectives, in this case, to take guns from the American people. What they don't tell you is that FBI statistics show that rifles, let alone assault rifles, are used relatively rarely in murders. They don't acknowledge that violent crime has actually been dropping steadily since the 1990s, even while civilian ownership of rifles like the AR-15 has gone up. It's a rejection of facts and logic, and an almost feverish obsession with emotion and hysteria instead. That's what D'Souza was correctly concerned about, even if he tripped over himself while saying it. There's a reason that stress management experts teach people to count to 10 before making a rash decision. Taking a step back and approaching the situation with a cool head is often the right approach. D'Souza was right to admit that he went in with a hot head, but now all of America should step back and take a deep breath before jumping into the gun debate with only emotion as a guide. Press share on Facebook if you agree that logic and facts need to supersede knee-jerk responses.